Assalamu alaikum. So this will be the custom list views tutorial, which is the part 2 of the series. So I'll call it custom list view, and this will be just using our own layouts for the rows instead of using the basic layout that I showed you in part A, in part 1. So create a simple create a custom list view project, alright, and you need to do a couple of things before moving in. The first is that we will be using some of the layouts that I provided in the assets, so please download those layouts and use them here, right? So I'll be doing the same thing. I'll start from the first, which is the Java class. So I'll open the activities. I'll go to the Java folder that I provided for you, and inside the Java folder you'll find one Java class called Stadium. Copy that one and paste it here. Okay, so this is the Stadium class. Next, we'll go to the layouts and then copy all the layouts that I have provided for you and go to the resources, layouts, and paste all the layouts. It will ask you to overwrite all, then you'll say overwrite all. Okay, so this is the design of the layout. Third, go to the values, open the strings.xml, copy the strings.xml and paste it here, or you can just write the whatever is here. Alright, so these 4 things we need: the Al Gharafa Stadium, host city, and to do. Then we will copy all of the images that we had in the folder, all the stadium images, copy them and paste them inside the drawable. Okay, paste, and I have all the images. So what I have done so far is I copied the Java class that I provided, then all the drawables that we'll be using, all the images, the stadium images. Third, I copied all the layouts, the design of the layouts. And fourth, now because we're using a card view in the list item, for the card view to show, we need to go to our build.gradle and implement the card view dependency. Okay, so you will then sync your project on the top. You will get us the card view. Now the card view is recognized, which means when you check your list item, it should display like that. If you did everything correctly, then you should have similar view like this. Now we will start coding. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we will create private list view private array list of stadium and stadiums. Okay, now in here we populate our data of the stadiums by doing stadiums equals stadium dot populate. I have all the data now. Next, I'll get the reference of the list view by doing this: list view equals to find view by id r.id.list. Because if you go to the activity main, you need to change this. If you have a recycler view, please change it to a list view, and to do that, just first delete the recycler view, search here for list view, drag the list view and drop it here. Because the assets I shared, I think if you use the latest ones, then it will be implementing a recycler view. Okay, so but you just need to replace it with a list view and give the ID as list. Alright, for the recycler view tutorial you can keep the recycler view, but for this tutorial we just need a list view. Then now we go back to our main activity, and now we found the list that is located in the resources layout. Alright, this activity main, we have this list, and now we link to that list. Next is that we need to create an adapter, our own adapter, and then add that adapter, add the adapter to the list view. Okay, these are the two steps missing for us to complete our custom lists view. So to do that, what I will do is I'll right click here, new Java class, and I will say my custom adapter. So this is my custom adapter. Okay, and my custom adapter now extends array adapter of type stadium. Okay, it will show this red, it's complaining, so I will press alt enter to create the matching constructor of the super. Because my stadiums are in a list view, I'll choose this one which has the context, resources, and a list of objects. Okay, now of course it will give you three things. One is the resource, the other one is this, and the third one is list of items. You can remove these things, the annotations, from this. If you don't have them, don't worry about them. If you have them, it's fine. The context, now I'll remove the resources, and I'll change this list to array list, because my list is an array list. So if you go to here, this is an array list. Okay, so I'll be passing an array list, so I'll say array list of stadiums will be passed to this adapter, and we'll pass the stadiums here. Now here it shows an error for the resources, so we will just pass 0 because we don't depend on, we will not pass the layouts to the superclass. You remember in the first part A, we were passing in here android.r.layout.simple list item. So we were passing this list item here in the middle. So right now we don't want to pass anything, just pass 0. Okay, next is that you need to create the view holder class. So the view holder class will mainly hold all of our views. So it will hold, for example, the stadium image, the stadium image's ID, the host city's ID, and so on, so we can reuse it. Okay, so go back to your adapter and say public static class view holder. Okay, now inside the view holder I'll create this 4 things. Okay, so I'll need a name, stadium, and this. So these are basically the views I have. So this is, of course, 3 of them are text view, text view, and 1 of them is an image view. Okay, and you need to import it if it's not important. So I will just put TV, and TV. So these are all the views that I need in my list view. So these are basically those. There is the name. Here you will have the host city, and you have status, and so on. Okay, and please always clean your project, build it and clean your project so everything regenerates well. Okay, all right. Okay, next you go to the main activity, and not the main activity, sorry, the my custom adapter, and create the get view, you need to override the get view method, and this method basically will allow us to inflate our layouts, okay, our row layout. So I'll remove this one, I'll remove this one, okay, and also I'll remove the top two. If you don't have these things, if you have them, keep them. If you don't have them, just continue. So I have a position, convert view, and a parent. So this is basically the row. This is where the row will be attached to the parent, and this is the position where this row will be inserted. Okay, so by the end I need to return this convert view. After inflating, I need to return the convert view. Then I'll say convert view. Okay, but of course in the middle we will write the code, two type of code. The first code will be getting the IDs and inflating the layout. Okay, actually it will be inflating the layout and getting the IDs, and second will be adding content to the views. Okay, so the first part, let's do it. First we need this class, the view holder class object, so you can access those fields. So I'll say view holder. Okay, now I'll say if the view holder now could be generated in two ways. So I'll say if the convert view equals to null, it means like the list view, the row is not generated yet, so it's an empty row. Okay, in the list view. Now I need to inflate this list item, and I will do that by doing convert view equals to layout inflator dot layout inflator from get context. There is a super method called get context that returns the context that we had, and if you click on it here and search for get context, you will find it here. There you go, it just returns the context that we gave it to. Okay, so going back, we'll say get view, then get context, then dot inflate. Okay, and inflate takes three values. First value is r.layout, the layout that you want to inflate, which is in our case lists item. The second is where you want to attach it to, and the third one is if you would like to attach it right now or later. Okay, once you have this, now you need the view holder to be also initialized. So you'll say new view holder. Okay, instantiated. So now I have the view holder object, and using the view holder object now I could be able to access those widgets. Okay, now I'll say view holder dot name TV equals to, now all of these IDs, if I want to access them, find view by ID, they are located inside the list item, and the list item is inflated as a convert view. Okay, so you could have called it now list item, it's fine, but this means this. Okay, so this is now inflated, so I can search inside this convert view. So I'll say convert view dot find view by ID r dot id dot, I think I called it name stadium name TV. Okay, now that's the first one. We can find the second one, view holder dot host city equals to convert view dot find view by ID r dot id dot host city. Okay, now you are assigning the IDs to these guys. Once you assign them, now you will be able to basically do something like view holder dot name TV dot set text. Okay, and set text to them. Now I will repeat one more, two more actually, and this will be status TV, and the last one is the image, the stadium image, and it is called stadium image. Okay, voila. Once I have all of those IDs, now I need to pass this view holder and to my convert view. So I'll say convert view dot set tag, and I will save this view holder here. So next time, whenever this view is not null, I do not need to do this again. So view holder equal new view holder and do all of this find view by ID. All I will do is that in else, when the convert view is not null, that means I have already done all of these steps. So I will just do view holder equals to convert view dot get tag. Okay, now this will give you back whatever you have saved, the view holder that you had, and you just need to cast it to a view holder. Okay, third is now adding content to the views. So we all have the views right now, the reference of all the views. Now all we have to do is view holder dot the name TV, okay, dot set text. Okay, now we want to get the item at position. Okay, at this position we want to get that item. So to get that item, you say get item. When you do get item, basically if you control click it, all it's doing is that the object that you pass to it dot get position. So in our case we are passing stadium, so it will do something like this. Stadium, it will do something like stadium dot get position, and it will return the stadium at that position. Okay, so I'll go back to my custom adapter. So I'll say get item at this position, and of course I need, because it's the name TV, I'll say get name. So I will set the name of that object into the name text view. Now I will repeat the same thing second, third, one for host city and one for status TV. Okay, and of course get item dot get position, and it will be host city, and this one will be status get status. Okay, now of course the image needs a couple of steps. The first step is, because the images that we have in our stadium, they are only the names. Okay, so by using these names we can get the IDs of these drops. So you see Salal, there is an image that's called salal.jpg, and here Al Gharrafa, there is an image called Al Gharrafa. Okay, so we want to basically get the IDs of this one and then set it to the stadium. So if you do the stadium, you can do something like this: view holder dot set view holder dot stadium image dot set image resource, and then it accepts an ID of basically an ID to set. So we could have set Al Gharrafa, but of course we want to do it dynamically. We don't want to remember this and dynamically read this part from this. Okay, so to get this ID, we do one step, which is int res ID equals to, now we have, because we are not in the main activity, we cannot do get resources, so we need to first do get context, which means now you are working on the main activity. Okay, then you will say get resources, then you will say all the resources, then you say get identifier, and this identifier now takes three things. Okay, the name, the type where the folder is, and the package. Okay, these three strings. So the name, we can get it from get item at position dot get image stadium image. So this is the name of the file, so we saved it inside the stadium image. Next is the where it's located, it's inside drawable, and third is what is the package, and the package could be found by saying get context dot get package name. Okay, so this will give you basically the ID of any of the images that you have. So it will give you the ID of Qatar University, so when you give it this name, it will give you the corresponding ID to that from drawables. All right, now after you do this, of course you have the resource ID, so you will say view holder dot stadium image dot set image resources, and you can pass now this ID. Okay, and basically that's all you need now to set all of the values that you need into a list, into a custom list view. But before we finish, we have to do one thing. In the main activity we did not complete, we reference it. Now we need to create the adapter. What type of adapter we will create now? We will say private my custom adapter. So it will not be array adapter, we will be using my own custom adapter. And now I can say adapter equals to new my custom adapter, and my custom adapter expects two things. One is the context, the second is the array list, okay, of stadiums. So the context will be this, and then stadiums, okay. So once I pass this to, the adapter will adapt it and generate the necessary views for that row. Finally, I will need to assign the list view dot set adapter and pass the adapter, okay. So with this we are done. Now let's run our application, and when we see, now it should generate all of the list with the image, with the images, okay. Let's wait. Guest is online, still installing APK. Okay, so as you see now, you have the stadium images and the name and the host city and the status itself. So we were successfully able to generate all of those stadiums. All right, now let's go to my custom adapter. Now if you want to register any listeners to these views, all you have to do is, for example, when the image is clicked, I want to toast something, I can do something like that: view holder dot stadium image dot set on click listener, new on click listener, and in here I can say now toast, and of course the context we said we can get it by doing get context, and in here I can say image is clicked, image is clicked, or you could say you click the image of, and then I could do plus get item at position dot get name. So I'll say you clicked the image of the stadium name, okay. So let's check now. Okay, so when I click now on this image, click on this image, it says you clicked the image of Al Gharafa, and if you click, you click the image of Al Khor Stadium, okay. So this is basically a simple way you can register clicks to. So in your get view, in the get view, just register all kind of click listeners, either on the stadium, either on the entire row, or so on, okay. Now I want to show you one more thing, which is, for example, what if when the, I mean, it's not like usually we will have some data downloaded or data we get from the server, but now to just demonstrate the simple concept where we can, how we can add an item to the list view. So the way we do it is like this: if you go to your activity main, and this image, we will do something like every time the user clicks on this image, we will just add one more stadium, okay. But in reality, of course, those maybe a data was updated, maybe you got some new information, so you want to update this list. So how do we do that? Okay, because the image here that I have here, activity main, it has an ID called add image. So when the user clicks here, I want to just add one random stadium, okay. So I'll come here and say button add stadium btn, okay. And now I will search for that one by doing add stadium btn equals to find view by id r.id dot, and it was called add image, okay. That's the but basically that's the image, and it was not a button, but it was an image view, okay. So this image view add btn, add stadium btn, not that, but you see add stadium btn is this, okay. Now I can add a listener to this, so I can say add stadium btn dot set on click listener equals to new on click listener. So whenever they click this, what I will do is I will create a stadium, okay, and I don't want to rewrite everything, so I'll just copy one of this line from the new part. This is a new stadium, right? So I'll create a new stadium, okay. So I'll say stadium equals to this new stadium. but instead of now just saying Qatar, I will do plus stadiums dot size plus 1. So it will say something like Qatar University 1, or 1, Qatar University 1, Qatar University 2, Qatar University 3. Understand? So this, and then also in the city I will do the same thing, and to be built, so you can see some different thing. Okay, and then I will keep the image the same, okay, because I don't have any new images. So now I'll say stadium, of course. Okay, stadium equals to this, and then I will add this stadium to the original list. You remember those stadiums that we had? So I can do like this, and of course now we'll say stadiums dot add, and then I can pass the single stadium. Okay, now because this list changed, my adapter needs to know that there is some change that happened to this data. So what I will do is that I will do something like this. By the way, this thing, keep it on the top and we keep the listener at the bottom. Okay, it's not mandatory but better. So then, so you understand everything. Now I will say adapter dot and notify data set changed. If you call this method, the adapter will automatically call this again, okay, and get the new set of data. So okay, now let's try. Did I forget something? Yes, semicolon here. So I forgot the semicolon at the end. Okay, so that's it. If I run my application now, first I want to show you that the last element is basically I think we had only 6 or 7, right, stadium. So you see the last stadium we have is called Doha Port. Okay, so it's called Doha Port, and that's the one, or Qatar University, sorry. The last stadium we have is Qatar University. So whenever I click now here, look, it adds new Qatar University, and then I click here, and then it adds a new another Qatar University, and it adds new one. Okay, so each time I click in this image, it adds one new thing. So it could have been maybe you are downloading something from the website, or somebody clicks on add and then they add something. For example, when they add contacts in your contacts, that's the way they repopulate the list, okay, and add it to the list of your contacts. Now the final thing I would like to show you is how, for example, if the user clicks anywhere, let's say instead of toasting something, we want to open another activity. Okay, so before opening the activity, we'll do right click, new, and activity, and I will say empty activity, and in here I will say detail activity. Okay, I can generate detail activity. Okay, so detail activity, stadium detail activity, and I'm creating a blank activity, empty activity I mean, and once I create it, I have this empty activity. Now when the user clicks on anywhere, when they click here, for example, I want to open that activity that shows this stadium as a bigger screen and so on. Okay, and I do have the layout for it. It's here. If you see activity stadium, it overridden it, so I will try to, no, it's this one. So I want to use this detailed one. Okay, so I will go to my stadium detail activity, and I will change from activity stadium detail to activity detail. Okay, when I do that, now the layout is this layout. Okay, and in this layout, all I need to do now is this exact same thing I have done in my custom adapter. So first let's open this activity, intent equals to new intent, and by the way, I'm in the custom adapter. Okay, and on the listener of the stadium image. Okay, and click listener. So I will say get context, okay, comma, and I want to go to where? I want to go to stadium, detail activity dot class. Okay, now next is that I want to add the stadium at this location. So I want to add the whole stadium content. And how can I find that? I can do something like this: intent dot put parseable, okay, and I will call it a stadium. That's one stadium, and I will say get item at this position. Okay, so this will give me the 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 stadium object at this position, okay, at position 0 or 1 or 2 or 3, which means it will give me whichever I clicked. So if I click here, so this entire stadium object will be returned back by just doing get item dot position. Okay, get item position. Okay, when I click here, it will give me this one. When I click the top one, it will give me that one, and so on. Okay, now finally I will do get context dot start activity, and I will pass the intent. Okay, now if we run our application, it should allow us to open, okay, the second activity. Okay, now when I click on any of the images, this one, it will open the second activity. But of course we did not inject anything, we just now only passed it. So how do we inject it? We come to the stadium details activity, and of course we need a couple of things: private stadium and stadium, because we are sending one stadium object, right? So I will say now, and also we need all of this guys, which is the image view and the place that holds the stadium and the host city and the status. Okay, so if I go to my main to the detailed, I need to create also private text view and name TV and 2 3. So this will be host city TV, and this will be status TV, and also I need of course a private image view of I called it stadium image. Okay, the stadium image, the stadium image. Okay, so I have this 4 things. So first let's get the stadium that we passed through the intent. So I will say stadium equals to get intent dot get parseable, and what did I name my parseable? I called it stadium. So this will give me a single stadium. Of course I need to cast it to stadium, so I will say stadium. Okay, so it needs to be casted to stadium, or you could have done alt enter and it will do the casting for you. Alt enter and cast, and it will do the casting for you. Okay, now I have the stadium. All I need now is to find the IDs of these guys. So I will say name TV equals to find view by ID r.id dot the stadium name, and repeat this 4 times, one for the host city, and then I'll say host city. Then I can say status TV, and I'll say status TV, and I can do stadium image and stadium image. Okay, so finally is, once we get the access, now set the values. Okay, how do you set the values? Of course we have seen this, name TV dot set text, and then I will say stadium dot get name. Okay, and same thing for all of them, 1 2 3. So the first 3, which is host city dot set text, will be get host city, and this will be status TV, and this will be get status. Okay, so now and finally I want to set the image, and the image, we discussed that first you need to get the res ID, similar way the way we got it, but now because we are in the activity we can do get resource. Okay, we don't need to say get content. Get resource dot get identifier, and we pass to it the stadium dot name, stadium dot stadium image. That's the name of the image. Where is it located? It's located in the drawable. And what's the package name? We will say get package name. Okay, that's it. So we will have the resource ID. Now we will set that resource ID by doing by saying stadium image dot set resource, set image resource, and then I will pass the res ID. Okay, now let's test our program. Start, run. So now when we come here, if I click on, let's say, Al Gharrafa Stadium, I will get the Al Gharrafa picture, Al Gharrafa Stadium, the host city, and the construction. If I press back and click on Al Rayyan, I get the Al Rayyan, and so on. Okay, so this concludes the tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know. Good luck. And I have not, of course, these are uncut and unedited version, so I'm sorry if I coughed on your ears or anything like that. All right, have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum.